Hey everyone, Travis here at the end of day 2, week 6 of the LCS on a fake movie set. We're in front of a fake Italian restaurant.
Surprise, you ruined this. It's supposed to be real.
Hey everyone, we're here in front of an Italian restaurant where we're going to get dinner. It's going to be delicious, and we're sitting on I think that this isn't, do you think this is real, like a real bench?
You know, it's in this world, so I feel like I can feel it. It's definitely real. But regarding if it's a movie prop or something that people actually sit in as a park, I'd say it's a movie prop.
It doesn't feel safe. I'm pretty sure we're in a very dangerous situation. Crumbz, let's talk about this week for you and this last game before something goes awful.
Okay.
You guys just ended a 5-game losing streak.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that. First off, why did you guys lose 5 games in a row?
Well, let's see. We started losing a lot. I don't remember the first game we lost to with that big ass 5-game losing streak. Maybe it was
It's just a blur.
Yeah, it's just a blur right now. It's when you get knocked out and then you just wake up and you don't even have bruises on your face. Like, what happened? That's kind of what that was the EG game this week. Yeah. So it was a massive loss streak, and going into this game in particular against XCG, bottom of the league, struggling with roster changes. We're thinking, I mean, if we can't pull a win in this one, something's definitely up. So we managed to do it, and I guess it was sort of convincingly. I know I made quite a bit of mistakes myself, but we had a decisive game, and we ended the streak. Now, that doesn't mean that we'll get – hopefully, that does mean that we stop losing from now on. Yeah. But the previous losses, even though some of the games were really close, I felt like we simply were outplayed. And many times in those games that we lost, we really were outplayed or outpicked. So, and a lot of the times in those mistakes were actually mistakes that were something that we want to work on, certain individual things we want to work on, and it's something that we still are working on, but we're capitalized on in specific games that we lost again. I'm not going to mention those games, but things that we want to work on were basically exploited, and we lost many losses on that. Now, as time progresses, obviously this first split, most people are taking it as a way to simply improve and prepare for the ultimate prize, which is next season. So that's what we're trying to do here as well. Obviously, we don't want to get relegated, but I feel like we're good enough to not get relegated and be able to contest that number 3 spot. With CLG obviously took it over this week, and I think we're going to go try and take it back. And I mean, I think Cloud9 is still within reach, and TSM is as well, but we're going to have to start winning a lot quicker and just a lot more often.
Now, in that XTG game specifically, can you sort of take me through what allowed you guys to win?
Okay, so the XCG game first, our picks and bans went great. I guess they got what they wanted, we got what we wanted, and then it started snowballing with the first gank top. Now, typically, it was just a regular river gank on mid lane, on top lane, and it worked. Now, a lot of the times that barely works. People have it warded, people just suspect, but it did, and it snowballed Trundle already. So, bam, we got one lane snowballing, and then I went for a gank on mid lane, and then we got her flash and got her to back. Mid lane started rolling a little bit as well. And then we got a kill on, well, we didn't kill her, but we tried to. And they just continually set back the Lulu as much as we could. And then from then on, just Trundle kept snowballing on the Renekton, which was great. So Renekton, which is an early game champion, falls behind, completely useless later down the line. And I felt like that was a really big key to our success, getting our big tanky front line to be more dominant than theirs. So the game is able to transition a lot more smoother, so they can't kill our tank while we can kill theirs. And with Gragas and Vi, we're able to continually take a lot of objectives. Issue happened was even though our ward coverage was pretty good, and we're able to take a lot of objectives off rotations, we got caught in 2 team fights, and I know I misplayed the team fights, and the game should have ended 20 minutes before, but I overcommitted twice, diving into their team comp, which is not a team comp. You don't want to dive a Lulu like that, especially if I'm full AD Vi. So that happened, and basically me diving in stalled out the game for another 20 minutes.
Now, a lot of my interviews this week, I'm sort of trying to just diagnose XTG's issues, or at least ask people to. Could you sort of tell me what you think XTG, after the 2 games this week, need to do in order to solve their issues?
I mean, I think the first thing that they need to do is, again, I have no idea on how their roster is, how players feel about each other. So I feel like that really needs to get out. Have everybody's opinion be voiced out so that everyone knows what they're here for and what they're not. So it's all written down. Okay, do I want to be playing this role? Do you want to be playing this role? I don't want you playing this role. Things like that. Everything gets outside, and then you can work from there. Create a roster first that works with what you have, and if they have that already, then they simply just need practice. They need to improve their practice, and they need to basically put their lives on hold, whatever private lives they're doing. You need to put that on hold and prioritize League right now, because at this rate, if they keep losing, they're just going to get relegated.
Now, I hear that you had a life event occur recently.
Yeah.
You want to talk to me about that?
Well, I made an incredible breakfast yesterday, which was I put oats at the bottom. Here's what I do. I grab oats, steel cut oats, chocolate powder, 100% cocoa. Put that chocolate powder on top. Grab a little bit of fine sugar, mix it with the cocoa powder so you get a nice sweet chocolate. Little layer of Cheerios, plain Cheerios. You're not going to have regular honey Cheerios or chocolate Cheerios just because that's going to meld in with the chocolate powder that you've just created. Layer of cornflakes on top, plain cornflakes. Mix it all together. Greatest breakfast cereal. And then I also, extended my visa. That doesn't matter that much.
Okay. Yeah, so talk to me about this visa extension because I feel like that is, somewhat relevant.
Yeah, so last week after the game ended, I went straight to the airport and just stayed in Vancouver for a couple of days and came back with a visa renewal, which lasts until the end of the year. That means that I now have my athlete's visa renewed twice, and it's the same visa that pro athletes, NFL players, NHL players get to come to the States. So that's, again, a great step in the right direction, which we already knew happened since it happened last year, but I have it again. And the issue with it is that it's a bit inconvenient to actually activate it, because even though I received the papers in the States, that means that I have to go back to Canada and then re-enter and simply put a little check mark for going for business. That's it. That's how you activate it.
Well, it's like a little mini vacation, right?
Yeah, I got a lot of home cooked meals. It was nice to catch back up with the family, and yeah, it was a good experience. But
I can tell that home cooked meals are very important to you based on this interview. Do you have any shout-outs, plugs, anything you'd like to say here?
I'd like to make a shout-out, of course, to the League of Legends fans, the guys that come out to the LCS studio that make a lot of noise. Hopefully, I want to hear some dig chants, but maybe we'll have to start winning before that happens. So shout-out to the League of Legends fans, everybody that follows the community, that continuously helps it improve in a positive way. People are being toxic, sure. You guys... Shout out to you guys, but not...
Shout out to the toxic guys?
Not that loud, just a little whisper out. And then everybody that supports Team Dignitas, of course, myself, all our sponsors, and just in general, I really enjoy being here, so...
Hey, I do want to ask you one final question, which is, what do you think of all this college stuff? Because right before we went to do this interview, I looked in the first match of the finals were going on, 27 minutes, and there were like 40 kills, and there was a Kassadin roaming around. Is it entertaining for you, or what are your general thoughts on the college games and all the matches that we've seen?
I find almost any league team versus team, not solo queue game, entertaining to watch. So watching that is always enjoyable. And seeing Kassadin is like, oh, what is this champion? I've never seen this before. So seeing Kassadin again, obviously, is great fun. But I think that the quality of play is good. Of course, it's college, right? These guys don't have the time to basically devote themselves how an LCS player would. They devote their entire life. They're prioritizing university before league. So obviously, the quality of game is not going to be as refined as some LCS games, and that's honestly not going to say much because we've seen some of the LCS games. Everyone here has put out. Okay, yeah.
Thank you so much for the interview, Crumbz. Really appreciate it. I'm glad we can go have our fake dinner now in front of this fake Italian restaurant. You can check out the rest of our coverage of LCS and studio sets and more at ongamers.com.